What's up, everybody? What's going on? I hope you mark this time in history, because pretty soon I'm gonna have that new studio set up. These lives, because they're late at night, they're normally done from my current house. Like I told you guys, this is sold. I posted the pictures and everything about the new place. I'm gonna post it on YouTube too, so you guys can see it. But I'm excited for the new studio, the new home studio. I'm really gonna deck that thing out. It's gonna be pimping. So appreciate everybody coming on. Appreciate everybody, tuning in. I wanted to talk a little bit today about success by association. This is something that, as I look back on my life, has always been there. It's something I've always pursued, and I realize the importance of it. And I think a lot of people miss that when it comes to bettering themselves in general, but specifically in business or some sort of endeavor where you're really looking to say, I want to be in the top 5% or 10%, right? Where being average or being above average isn't enough. I want more, right? And this is something that people, I think, do lackadaisically, and they don't really push it to that level, right? I mean, look at today's society. What's accessible to us, right? Everything. I can walk to a public library, which most people won't do. Even easier, everybody has these, and they watch YouTube and listen to podcasts, right? And that's fantastic if you do that, right? But if we're going to create a ladder of like 1 to 10, 10 being you do everything possible and you maximize it, what I just described is like level 1. And most people stop at that. They'll say, well, I'm watching your YouTube, bro, and listening to your podcast. That's fantastic, bro. But if you want more, you're going to have to, that's what everybody does, right? So when we say success by association, success by association, the people around us, the environments that we're in, think about that, right? I remember being new in the real estate industry almost 11 years ago now, right? And going to events, paid, free, and getting like, this is the type of stuff that I did, y'all. I remember going to free events. Anytime they did a Q&A, I always stood up and asked a question. Always. I remember going to like Vegas events like Mike Ferry and being there and saying, okay, I know the top agents are in the front. When I'm done, Like when this session is done, I'm going to go up to the front and ask every single one of them if they'll role play with me, right? If they can exchange information with me, if we can be in touch, if I can get some sort of insight, right? And if you guys remember that story, those of you who have been around for years, I think I asked like 100 people at the seminar, and a couple told me, like four or five said, yeah, sure, dude, right? And those people ended up becoming really good friends. And to this day, a lot of us still have relationships and friendships, but those are the people that initially I connected with that catapulted my level. But let's take a step back. I had to pay to be there and then go. And I did that before I got my license as a realtor, right? Same thing with going to the office. I would go to the real estate office all the time and be there with them, right? Go with some of the agents on appointments before I got licensed. I knew by associating myself with those people and in that environment, it would be conducive to my growth. And all these things I did beforehand. And it seems like today with a lot of people I talk to, I have to like tear it out of them, or they won't do it, or they don't even consider it, which is the crazy part. Like in my mind, especially now, the way I've been bred, I'm looking for the best person to learn that thing, whatever it is that I want to learn. And if I have to pay the dude $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever to learn it, I'm going to do it because I've learned my lessons over the years. And I know that, let's say I spend $10,000 to go to that event or talk to that person, dude, that will save me so much time and heartache and make me so much more money that $10,000 is a drop in the bucket, right? And I get it. If you've never spent money like that, of course, you know, that's crazy. Like I remember I would hear it. I remember when I signed up for the Anthony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within, back in 2015, and we got the Diamond Elite seats, like 4 or 5 rows from the front, right? Me, Colton, and AJ, right? If you remember our Real Estate Hustlers and Young Hustlers Mastermind from back in the day, from like 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I remember my parents and people around, dude, you're crazy. You spent what to go to that event? Whoa. And I remember that as being one of those crucial transitionary periods. There were many in my life, but I remember that moment. I was like, man, this is when I'm really starting to separate myself, because I'm willing to go there, spend 3 or 4 days there, spend the money. I think we spent $5,000 each to go to that event. But see, I was laying brick by brick by brick by brick by brick by brick to do this thing. But I knew, hey, I get in that room, there's celebrities around us, obviously Anthony Robbins, and I made some great connections in that room at that event in 2015, and I'm still friends with some of those people to this day. I've done business with some of them. Some of them have contributed to my coaching program, come to speak at my events. I mean, it's crazy, and vice versa from those people that I met. So again, success by association. I look at basketball, man. I remember the summers when we'd be back from basketball. Like we had the break from college, right? Even getting out of high school. I fought tooth and nail to get into the best gyms and the best open runs. And we played in the Drew League, right? I played in a lot of summer camps. I played against a lot of NBA players that you guys know years ago when I was still playing. And I fought to get on the court and be around those people. And in some of those tournaments, yes, I had to pay money. I didn't care, because I wanted to be the best fucking basketball player that I could be. And I knew, hey, if I can get on the court with these guys and play, it's going to boost my confidence and my level a million times. But it's not going to happen for me sitting back and waiting for it. A lot of what I did in basketball and athletics was pre-social media era, because by the time I stopped playing, social media hadn't even really started yet. But see, I was willing to get around those people. I was willing to get on the court with them. I was willing to do whatever it took to do it. Because success by association to a lot of people sounds simple. Well, you know, I just get in the room. Well, what is it going to take for you to get in the room or get at the table or have the conversation with them? And a lot of people aren't willing to, like, if there's one little barrier, they have to travel, they have to spend money or this and that, they won't do it. It's nuts. So I look back at those people and I say, well, no wonder you're in the position you're not happy with. You don't do shit. You do what everybody else does. But people don't realize it, because that's what everybody around them is doing until, again, you start listening to these people and getting around people. Like the first step I remember, okay, let's rewind 10 years ago. I get into real estate. I can't find people around me that are as hungry and as dedicated as I am. I can't fucking do it. What do I start doing? I start connecting with people on social media. I create my own little mastermind and role play sessions and calls. I created that shit on top of getting coaching and all that other shit. Why? Because I wanted to raise the standard. And I said, if I can't find it, I will create it. And that's what I did. And that later turned into this and that, and it blossomed, right? Now I have communities and coaching and courses and all that shit, right? But initially it was just, dude, I want to get around some better people. Then that led to doing more research, and this person knows this person. And then, hey, I'm going to meet this business owner. Then they connect me with this person. And it just explodes. Where now, because of the capacity that I'm in now, the influence that I have, the money, the opportunities, I now host a lot of events, right? Where people can come. A little Miami Business Connection, which, by the way, if you guys are available, the 10th of February, I'm doing the next Miami Business Connection networking event at my office here in South Florida. Right? You're more than welcome to come. Go to teambcevents.com and sign up, right? I have a ton of people confirmed already. I think the next one, we're going to have to find a venue because we have too many people coming, right? For my office. I can only fit like 40 or 50 in my office, unfortunately, comfortably, right? But I hosted that. I've already got connected with 2 developers, another lender, right? Actually, no, 3 developers, right? And people outside of real estate too. A ton. That now have turned into friendships and partnerships, and we might JV on. Like, it's really cool. I hosted that event, and most of those people I didn't know before they walked in. They found it through someone else or Eventbrite or wherever we put it, right? So I know it's tried and true. If you create it, they will come. If you have to. But I even look at people's attempts. I'll talk to people. Well, what have you done? Right? Like, well, you know, I'm new and this is not my create. What have you done to create that? Well, like, I commented on this one video and no one responded. I'm like, that's it? That's your level of effort, bro? Really? I mean, it just blows my mind when I talk about these things, how I compare like what I did, again, not knowing, just being hungry and motivated and fired up, to like what people are doing now. And it's just night and day different. My effort level and tenacity was here and most people's is here. But then they look at me and they're like, well, how can I get your result? I'm like, dude, you need to step up. You need to step up. And those same people, again, and a lot of them will come back to my Instagram lives and Facebook, and they hover around like what I do and what other people do. And you know what I see, unfortunately, guys, and it's sad to say this, I see them asking the same questions and being in the same position because they refuse to take the next step, right? That 1 to 10 that I told you, they're stuck at 1 and they won't go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They think liking my picture or joining a live, it's like, dude, that's not enough. It's not enough. And I say that to compare and say, okay, it wasn't talent or anything else. It was effort, dedication, commitment, tenacity, all these things that you can develop and cultivate within yourself. I can't make you give a shit. I can't make you want it more. I can't. Just like I tell people, I don't motivate people. I give information and applicable like mental technology, sales techniques, communication techniques, or whatever it is. And the byproduct of that is people being fired up and being motivated. There's a clear difference there. I teach people substance, growth, business development. That's what I teach. Motivation is a byproduct. So I'm not a motivational speaker. I think there's zero value in that personally. Right? If that's what you do and that's what you dedicate yourself to, great. I'm not knocking you. I don't want to be in that category. I want the byproduct of me teaching to be people being motivated. So when we go back to association, what do you associate yourself with? Nightlife, Instagram, the club, right? Drama, gossip, because this goes beyond just people and rooms that you're in. It's also what you associate your mental, right? Your mental capacity to, and your focus and your mental and internal resources. I look at a lot of people who are in sales and they spend very little time selling or working on their sales skills and a lot of time bullshitting. Liking stuff on Instagram and, well, I'm preparing to do this thing for social media. It's like, come on, dude. Like, put your time where it needs to be. If you, by association, spend more time in those areas, the end product will be you developing, getting better results, getting better, and getting what you want. More of what you want and less of what you don't want. But if we want more of what we desire, right? When we have what we don't want over here, if you look at what you associate with internally and externally, for most people, it's what they don't want. If you want drama out of your life, get the fuck out of drama. If you want more money in your life, get around people who make more money, who have conversations about money, right? Careers that will allow you to make money and have the potential for you to make a lot of money, right? You want to get around people who are more fired up and more physically fit, right? Go to a gym, join a club, get into a sport where people are more physically fit and join them and get around that energy. It's going to help you, right? I mean, this is simple, y'all. This is simple, and anybody can implement this. That's why I like these lives and a lot of these little simple titles, is this is applicable to anybody, right? And pretty soon when I have the new studio and I start opening up the call lines again, I want people to call in on stuff like this and really tell me where the hangup is or why they're not going after it as hard as they want. And you guys can even comment now for some of you who are on. How come you're not doing what it takes to associate properly? Because apparently what you're doing isn't enough because you don't have the results that you want. Unless you tell me you're 100% satisfied with where you're at wholeheartedly and honestly, then okay, then you've done what you need to do. But will that be the case in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, or in a year? Probably not. Right? And there's a lot of stuff that I do that isn't necessarily comfortable or I want to, but it's the right thing to do. And that's why I do it, whether it's in this subject matter or not. I knew when I moved out here too, I wanted to connect with more developers and people who are higher up in that tier in real estate. And I've been doing it without even really trying, in quotes. I do it and I'm active with it, but I'm doing so many other things. Yet I'm still accomplishing in that because the time that I do put in it, the right associations are made and the right moves are made, right? As you start climbing that ladder, you have a lot more reach and power and pull. And it doesn't take as much grind and effort to get the result. I'm realizing that now 10 and a half years into the game. And it's cool. But see, that position is earned through time, effort, experience, right? Results, money spent and invested, mistakes made, heartache, challenges, obstacles. So if we go back to that ladder, right? 1, 2, 3 for 10 for the individual, where is it at? 1, let's say with me, listen to me and listen to podcasts. Cool. Okay. What's step 2? What more are you going to do? Come to an event, sign up for something that I do, right? Or someone else. Fuck, if it's me, I don't care. But if it's somebody else, do it with them. How about 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 9 and 10? Even on 1, you can say, well, I watched this video and you told me to do this and I did it. Most people won't even do that. They'll watch the video and say that was great, but then they won't do what I taught them. Or they'll ask me a question where I answered it in the video and I'm like, dude, at minute 3 in that video, I literally answered your question. What do you mean you watched the video? You didn't. So we can't even actively do that first step properly. This is how disconnected we are. This is how lackadaisically we do things. I want to be an entrepreneur, and then there's this half-hearted effort to grow. I look at like real estate, and it blows my mind how entitled some people come in or how easy they think it is. And that's why with my brand from day one, I've done my best to be transparent and just tell people the real and say, look, it's not pretty. It's not $1 million listing. This is a nose to the grindstone type of, job that's extremely rewarding. Don't get me wrong, but it's not easy. It is very challenging, and it will force you to grow. It will force you to pull out and rip out the skeletons from your closet and face your insecurities and do things you've never done before and push yourself to a different level and become emotionally resilient and develop communication skills and get over your social anxiety and all that shit. And I tell people, like, the prospecting aspect of it, like door knocking, calling, and all that, is like one of the best forms of self-help for people if they commit to the process. But what do we have nowadays? We have a new generation coming in that won't even consider what I just said. It's like it doesn't exist. I don't know if I mentioned it on a live. You can preview, even though I'm not a part of all these fucking groups on Facebook, I still see what they post sometimes because it'll pop up on my feed because somebody invited me and I didn't accept it. Someone said, hey, what were like your top lead sources, or what are the top lead sources? No one. Okay, lead sources. In case you don't know what that is, right? In real estate, typically expired for sale by owner, sphere of influence, right? just listed, just sold, probate, notice of default, right? Divorce. Okay. Just to give you an idea, absentee owners, potentially open house, like those are lead sources. Everybody in that comment named companies that sell leads. And I checked. I was like, nah, maybe I just saw everybody. That's the new generation. It's not even considered what I said, which is actual lead generation and lead sources that are self-generated. The other ones are we rely on something else, or we have to pay somebody to give us leads. And then if it doesn't work out, we complain. There's no other option. You see? In an attempt to make things easier and streamline the incorrect way, those are the consequences. I don't know any new salesperson, forget the real estate industry for a second. I don't know any new salesperson who goes somewhere and then instead of generating their leads, which in other industries, you're going to have to generate your own leads when you start at least, right? To prove yourself and develop your skills. I don't know anywhere else where they can go be fed these leads and then be successful. They don't have systems. They don't have skills. They don't have know-how. They don't have anything. So why would that person even, it just goes to show the gap in education and the gap in people actually voicing what is real. This is why I've said it for years. I'm never going to be the most popular, and that's okay. Even if I hadn't gotten censored, I probably still wouldn't be the most popular person in this space. Totally cool. I don't care. I knew that because of what I stand for and what I talk about. Yet, when we look at what's happening now in the economy, in the world, in the markets, a lot of it, whether it's online or traditional business stuff, it's coming full circle back to this stuff. And the people who are king and supreme in these areas that I've been teaching and that I've based my business on and my life on will reign supreme. And people are going to find, oh, we need to go back to that to start to see success because all the new stuff and the fads aren't working. This is a people business. I don't care what capacity of sales you're in. It's a people business. You need to master being with people, interacting with people, persuading people, selling to people, which again, if you have a high level of ethics and you conduct yourself as an honest, genuine, and transparent salesperson, to me, it's a very noble job. You're helping people get over their own BS to help them get what they want. To me, that's awesome. And you get rewarded handsomely for it. I've had deals where I make over 6 figures from one transaction in real estate. Fucking cool, right? I still am blown away that I can knock on a door or call somebody, and within a couple minutes, they trust me so much. They tell me their life story and give me their social security number and all their information. It's incredible, dude. And this is why when I teach it, I make sure that it's taught with that high level of ethics. I don't want to teach scam artists and people who are in it for themselves and aren't really looking out for the best interest of their clients. I've been very vocal about that. I detest that. Because we have a genuine responsibility here as a higher level communicator. You see? But when you step out of the business realm for a second, that serves so well in life. Look at the climate right now in the world. Relationships, dating, very rocky for a lot of people. I've been talking about it for years, but I got that content deleted or shunned. Apparently now it's popular. Cool. At least now it's more mainstream, right? People are struggling. And a lot of it is people can't communicate and relate to each other. Now, me personally, I don't have issues in those categories, whether it's attracting women or my relationships. I don't have issues there. Not to say that they're perfect, but compared to everybody else, their level of issues, mine, right? But see, that's the spillover of developing myself, especially in the realm of communication and my character, because both of those go synonymously. And that's one of the best things about success by association is you get around people who have a more elevated character. They have traits that you admire and you would want to adopt. What other way would be better than spending time with them and learning directly from them? Not just watching a video or a podcast, being in the same room, getting specialized lectures, right? Spending time with them. And that's the route that I took in everything that I did, whether it was my coaches in my athletic career or my professional career or whatever it is. That's the cool part about this. But that is that piece that people miss in association. If there's something you like about me or the next person and you go really learn from them and become a student, man, That's the number one spillover to you, is their character starts to rub off on you and you pick up on it, right? And it's a beautiful thing because you start to develop and grow. And that is, for me, one of the most satisfying things to teach people, to see their transformations and to get those type of responses from them. Like, check out the interview I did yesterday. I think it's on Facebook and I'll upload it to my podcast soon, with Austin. Look at Austin. He's transformed as a man, and he's only 25. And he's been around me and coaching with me for like 4 or 5 years. Dude's a beast. But compare how he was 4 or 5 years ago and how he carries himself and speaks, and his income and what he's done and his potential 4 years ago to now. That's a complete transformation. That's not just somebody who I taught to make money. Look at Kevin Marks, who used to work with me in California. Self-admittedly, he said he was a nerd and a geek. Within 6 months to a year, I turned him into a fucking man, on top of teaching him skills and communication and all that stuff. That's what it's about. Complete transformation. And one of them is by association. They're around me a lot. They pick up the mannerisms, right? We focus on the right things. We now change the routine, change what their focus is, change how they speak, change how they walk and talk, change their activities. Now the person begins this evolution, right? But they have to be thrown head first into the fire. And I love seeing that. I relish in that now. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, money's great and all that. That's fantastic. But the feeling and satisfaction of seeing these individuals grow and develop is worth it for me. Now, I noticed it in myself and it was cool, but to see it in other people is, I can't even put it into words sometimes. It's incredible. It's incredible. And that excites me and keeps the fire going. There's many things, but that's one of them for sure. And that's one of the things that I always tell them is the association. Get in the room, get around the people, spend as much time as you can with them and do whatever you can, because that's what's going to help you the most. Shout out to, I don't know if he's on here, James, right? He flew out from Tennessee to go to my free Miami Business Connection event last month. And we ended up spending some time together, right? I made him speak, right? Even though he was nervous, right? But he did it. Good for him. He stepped up. And then after, I said, you know what, dude, I'll take you to the airport. He came with me to run some errands. He got some personal time with me. Then I dropped him off at the airport. Cool experience. And to me, a worthy reward for him making the effort and coming to the event. He deserved that. That's why I gave it to him. Did I have to do that? No, but I did it. Because to me, that makes sense. He should be rewarded for making that effort. Young man, I think he was like 19, 20. Flew out from Tennessee to Miami for the first time ever for the day just to come to the event. Talk about commitment, man. And I love giving those examples to the people that make excuses. And I'm like, that should make you feel like shit. Because look what that kid did. He doesn't have a lot of money. He had every excuse just like you, but he did it. What's your excuse? Right? So now, immediately from when he walked in the door to a couple hours later when I dropped him off at the airport, I noticed a difference in him. He was a little bit more relaxed, carried himself with a little bit more ease. Not a huge transformation, but already you start to see a difference. So I said, it's up to you now, bro. You planted a seed now. Water it, cultivate it, and develop it. Right? And it will turn into something beautiful if you want it to. So make sure that for you, this is of utmost importance. Get around the right people, right? And it's different for everybody because we all have different aspirations and we want different traits and we want to develop in different areas. But get around them, dude. Get around the groups. You want to learn how to become a piano player? Get around the piano players, right? Like that's what I'm gonna start doing here. That was one of the new resolutions I made. I'm gonna get back on the piano, dude. I was learning a little bit before I moved a couple years ago, but then I got sidetracked and I stopped. Also want to learn how to play the drums. There's a lot. I might get back into dancing. I used to do salsa and like ballroom dancing back in the day when I was younger. I might get back into that. I don't know, but I'm considering it. Why? I'm always pushing that and I want to keep growing and developing and making sure that me as a human being, I'm working on myself and doing what I need to do, but making sure that if I do have any other interest or desire to do something, that I'm fulfilling that. Right? And I put myself in the position where I can do that, where I couldn't in the past. And it's a great position to be in. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Okay? So make sure you guys are doing what you need to do to get at the table, get in the room. Please, for your sake. For your sake. It's going to help you a lot. Okay? Appreciate you guys stopping in. Remember, The 10th, we're doing the next Miami Business Connection networking event. I have the links below as well. I'm doing consultations now. If you want to do like an online consultation or even in person here, if you're in South Florida, that's on my website. I have 3 tiers of coaching: the Real Estate Agagi, Distinguished Agent, and Limitless. Those links are on the website as well. Limitless is by application only. Distinguished Agent is the package that most people get. I have over 1,000 people who signed up for that. And the newest one, again, if maybe you can only rub 2 pennies together, you're brand new, you don't have a lot of money, right? Maybe you're part-time, whatever it is, and you just need the bare bones basics, get the Real Estate Agagi. That's going to help you a lot if you're a salesperson or an entrepreneur. Okay. Good night, everybody. Have a good night.